You want the moon? Just say the word and I'll throw a lasso around it and pull it down.
Look at the stars. The great kings of the past look down on us from those stars. So whenever you feel alone, just remember that those kings will always be there to guide you.
I don't think it is very useful to speculate on what God might or might not be able to do. Rather, we should examine what he actually does with the universe we live in.
We are all explorers, driven to know what's over the horizon. The most profound discoveries are not necessarily beyond that next star. They're within us, woven into the threads that bind us.
Hello, beautiful people. Happy Tuesday, happy Mars Day, and happy Valentine's Day. Thanks for bearing with me while I got the live stream started. Celebrating love today. Got a little lost in a love song playlist this morning. Really feeling the Valentine's vibes. And as we were waiting for the stream to start, I asked you to share what you're doing for Valentine's Day. And it looks like you guys are having some really fun plans today. Corby says she made some homemade pizza and brownies for her son. He seemed a little resistant to the day, so wanted to do something special for him. And also took time to pour love into herself. The most important love we can give is self-love, right? We can't pour from an empty cup. Wrote some poetry, did some yoga, put one of my favorite outfits on. Love that for you. Explored some new music. Love-filled day. Love that. I mostly watched The Untouchables and remember what Capone's boys did to Bugs Moran's boys. Hopefully I said that right. Happy Valentine's Day. I work both jobs today, but I got my partner a card and some of his favorite candy. We'll most likely go out to eat this weekend. Plenty of times. Ooh, and made Oreo balls. Love that. Yay. I love the permission to eat sweets on Valentine's Day. I mean, really every day we don't need permission, but it's definitely one of the sweetest holidays, pun fully intended. This is Rachel's tradition to make the Oreo balls every Valentine's Day. Love it. Makes me so happy to hear about all your Valentine's plans. And before we get into the astrology forecast, yes, we are here for it. The self-love, sharing the love. Before we get into the forecast, Diane shared some articles about the history of Valentine's Day. We talked about this last year on Valentine's Day too. But if you're curious why we celebrate Valentine's, yes, it's named after Saint Valentine, definitely Christianized or Catholicized over the years. But a lot of historians actually believe that Valentine's Day has roots in pagan traditions. The Roman pagan festival of fertility called Lupercalia was held on February 15th. It's a little gory. There was always an animal sacrifice. Maybe that's why red is the color. There was not great treatment of women in the festival either. Not really romantic, but interesting that it has evolved to this holiday where we share love with each other. But simply, Lupercalia was commemorated and held in honor of the gods Faunus and Lupercus, the gods of agriculture and fertility, and also honor the mythological founders of Rome, Romulus and Remus. So yeah, it was all about fertility. Makes sense that it was being held this time of year as the sun starts to come out, as we're looking towards spring. But yeah, they usually sacrificed male goats in a cave. I don't even want to talk about the dog aspect of it. It makes me too sad as we go from like, yay, Valentine's Day to this really dark holiday. But there was a feast following the sacrifice. Yeah, lots of blood. Again, maybe where all the red came from. But there was also the pairing of young Roman boys and girls during the festival. At some point, the names of young girls were written on bits of paper and slipped into a jar. Every young man would then pull out a girl's name from the jar. The pair would be coupled together for the duration of the festival, and many stayed together until the following year's festival. Some even fell in love and married. So it was very popular, and it makes sense that now we leave Valentine's. There's notes associated. That's the only like kind of romantic, maybe if you even look at it that way, kind of romantic part of the festival. But then in the 5th century, the Pope banned Lupercalia and declared February 14th a day to feast and celebrate the life of Saint Valentine, who was said to have been executed on February 14th. So that's how it became a celebration of Saint Valentine. The story goes, oh, interesting. Okay, one more little tidbit here, and then we'll get into astrology. The most popular belief states that Saint Valentine was a priest in the Roman Empire during the 3rd century, executed under the command of Claudius for conducting marriages in secret after the emperor had outlawed him. The story goes that while waiting his fate in prison, he fell in love with the jailer's daughter. After his sentence finally came through, Valentine supposedly left a farewell note to the young lady and signed it, "From your Valentine." He then exited the jail and walked towards the most unromantic of ends, death by beating and decapitation. We might not never know the full truth, but, you know, it's interesting how there are all these different festivals and stories about St. Valentine. I don't know about you, but maybe it's my Venus in the 12th house, but falling in love in jail, falling in love under forbidden pretenses just does it for me. It just does it for me. Yeah. Animal sacrifice followed by the barbecuing of the animal. Yeah, that's what I was gathering from that piece. That was from history.com. So yeah, a little bit of darkness, a little bit of sweetness. Hopefully your Valentine's Day is a lot less gory than how they used to celebrate. Let's talk about the astrology forecast, though, and get a current check on the energy. Before we dive into that, I do want to take a moment for the birthdays of the day, because if it's Valentine's Day and if your birthday falls on Valentine's Day, I think a lot of times it's like a Christmas birthday. You kind of get swept under the rug. Freddie Highmore has a birthday today. One of my family friends, Andy, celebrates his birthday today. I love that Valentine's babies are Aquarius babies. You would think they'd be more Pisces energy, but Aquarius babies born on Valentine's Day. It's a special combination. Jake Lacey is also a Valentine's baby. A few actors that I recognize here. Nobody major, though. Interesting. You would think there'd be, Teller from Penn and Teller. Florence Henderson, how sweet. I love that she was born on Valentine's Day. That just makes sense. The mom from the Brady Bunch, right? That's who she is. But of course, if it's your birthday, if you know someone celebrating a birthday today, let us know so we can send a little extra love their way today. Yes, Freddie. He's been around for a long time. He was a child actor in a lot of great movies. Right. Romantic themes, jail and sacrifice. Again, very 12th house energy, right? That's funny. Okay. Now let's get into astrology, something I actually know a little more about than the history of Valentine's Day. The sun is in Aquarius today. The moon is in Sagittarius. Talk about a day to expand your heart, share the love with the moon in Sagittarius. It's just easier to share the good vibes with other people. And we woke up feeling those good vibes because the moon is currently harmonizing with Jupiter. That's kind of what we woke up feeling. So current energy feels great. I don't know about you, but it feels really abundant, light, optimistic. The love can just come through easily. Thank you for sharing it with me, Diane. I appreciate you helping me do a little research. Oh, thank you. That picture, I'm assuming we're talking about the Marilyn Monroe picture. That's from Halloween, like 6 years ago now, 5 years ago now. Yeah, but it is cool to learn about the history. I am just someone, I'm like, why are we celebrating this? I want to know where this comes from. I want to know the roots of it. Thank you. Yeah, my hair was super short. I just keep reusing those Marilyn Monroe pictures. So we do have one major transit to talk about today. Not major, but certainly something we're feeling and certainly something to be aware of on this Valentine's Day. Mercury is opposing Lilith. So we have Mercury in Aquarius at 4 degrees. Mercury in Aquarius, all about opening our mind, communicating differently, maybe even breaking out of the box or the mold that we have created for ourselves and how we communicate. Mercury in Aquarius might make it easier to express our love in a different way or in a more unique way, to spark up a conversation with someone you normally wouldn't, or to talk about things that you don't normally talk about. But what's really powerful is that Mercury is opposing Lilith, Lilith in Leo. Remember, Lilith, we're talking about Black moon Lilith, the point on the moon's path farthest from the earth. And Lilith represents that primal part of us that does not want to be controlled, does not want to be suppressed. It can also represent suppressed urges or desires. And Lilith is also known as our inner bitch because when she comes out in a rather hostile or fiery way. So I see this opposition giving us a few different avenues to work with it. Let's talk about the shadow first and then the light. As you all know, I believe that there's a shadow and a light potential of every transit. So we'll start with the shadow, what to be aware of, right? So Lilith, again, known as our inner bitch. So when Mercury opposes Lilith, it's like this make or break energy. And it can be all too easy to be overly bold in our expression, to be a little too feisty. There's a fine line between being like sexy or being kind of flirty, right? Have you ever, maybe you do this, I know I've been guilty of this, or you've observed this in other people. I think it's just, I don't know if it's like an American thing or what it is, but when you're being flirty, but you're kind of throwing insults back and forth at the same time. I've been known to do that. I know there are other people out there who kind of, it's like this little game, right, that people play. So beware of doing that today, because how we're communicating could certainly be misconstrued, or you might say something that triggers people in a way that you weren't expecting or you weren't intending. So how we're communicating is really important. Also, being a little like sexy or mysterious, Mercury and Aquarius, maybe you kind of want to keep a little bit of distance there, but that could be misconstrued as being cold or harsh or a little bit mean. So we want to be mindful about how we're communicating today. Our intentions to be spicy could come across as bitchy. Yeah, that banter back and forth, that little like poking, making fun could, especially in people who are already coupled, I could see that turning into more of aggression than playful banter. So remember, we can just, Venus is in Pisces. It's okay to just be sweet. It's okay to not have that edge, unless that's your thing and you know you're walking the fine line between being playful and being hurtful. Just walk it carefully. Now, let's talk about the light potential of this transit. Mercury opposing Lilith can help us communicate more boldly and authentically. Remember, an opposition is like a make or break. So if these two planets, or these two placements, I should say, are kind of completing each other and working together and pulling towards each other, Lilith can bring in that confidence and that boldness, saying things that you've been wanting to say, expressing desires that have been hidden in the shadows, you know, being like, this is what I want. I don't know why I said that with a weird accent, but like, this is what I want. You know, there's something very powerful about just saying what you want, just expressing your desires. I think, especially on a day like today, on a day like Valentine's Day, we want people to just read our minds. We want people to just know how to woo us, you know, just automatically know our love language, automatically know we want the hearts, we want the flowers, we want them to initiate intimacy. We want them to have already made the reservation for dinner and have it be a grand surprise. Again, this might be my Venus and Leo. That's like, I want everything to feel grand, but there's power in being like, and taking back the power and taking back the control and communicating with a partner, with a potential partner, even with a friend or a child, any sort of loved one you're celebrating Valentine's Day with. Like, this is what would make me feel loved. That might be a little uncomfortable. That might be different than how you normally communicate. But Mercury in Aquarius is that invitation to communicate differently, right? So this is what I want from you. This is what would make me feel really loved on Valentine's Day, or just kind of taking control. Remember, not being too bitchy or too hostile or too feisty, but taking control and doing it differently, right? You planning Valentine's and not waiting on your partner to do it. So we don't want to control the narrative, because that can be kind of a shadow of like trying to be in control and trying to force things and control the narrative. Again, trying to make things match your expectations. That can lead to feeling more powerless than powerful. But allow authenticity to be witnessed, allow it to be expressed. Be like, this is how I feel about you. This is what I want from our relationship. And it can be loving. It can be bold and loving at the same time, right? Exactly. Guys don't always pick up on hints. Sometimes direct to the point is better. Mercury opposing Lilith can help us just get to the point and be direct, even in the sort of evasive sign of Aquarius. Mercury in Aquarius can create that distance in communication, but Lilith is here to like bring us back to our power and say what we want, right? Say what we want. I also love this. I'm reminded by Katie's comment. I got a haircut and had a massage. Amazing. Self-love. Mercury opposing Lilith. It's like coming back to yourself. Affirmations, speaking love into yourself. If Valentine's Day isn't a day where you're planning on sharing with other people, that's totally fine. But use this to your advantage, this transit, and give yourself back the love. Look in the mirror and be like, this is what I want from you. This is why I love you. You know, finding that love for all of you and boldly declaring to yourself what you want, what you're worthy of, what you deserve. Something that might be a little different than how you normally communicate with yourself with Mercury and Aquarius, but kind of drawing in that power with Lilith opposing Mercury. So this doesn't even have to apply to conversations with other people. It could just be you journaling affirmations to yourself with Mercury opposing Lilith and finding your power that way. Also, one more thing I want to say about this, Mercury and Aquarius, we talked about communicating with community, talking in group chats. So maybe kind of taking back your power in friendships and in groups too, and being like, I love you all, and this is why. I think a lot of times, especially in group settings, I don't know about you, but for me, I'm like kind of waiting on other people to dictate the conversation a lot of the time. It's like, take the power, be like, hey, let's all do a group call tonight, or let's all meet up this weekend for a little Galentine's or for a little love, dinner or something like that. Like taking back the power in the way you communicate. Corby says, wow, someone point with my journaling this morning. I wrote what I was letting go of and what the new me would receive and stand in. Yes, Lilith, coming through for you. Absolutely. I love that that's what came through. And by the way, this was an exact opposition overnight. So you might have had some powerful dreams too. That actually leads us perfectly into the moon's transits, because the waning moon still in Sagittarius, really helping us lighten the energy, helping us to live a little, have some fun, share the love more easily today, and find freedom in the release. Find that catharsis. Find that like, yes, I'm making room for new things to grow, for new seeds to blossom as I clear away stagnant energy under this waning moon. But right as Lilith and Mercury were coming into that opposition, the moon connected with them both pretty much at the same exact time. So this was at 2 a.m. I'll just jump back here so we can see if it'll pop up for us. 2 a.m. Pacific time. So maybe right as you were waking up on the East Coast, if you're an early riser, you can see the moon harmonizing with Lilith here. So really helping us channel that power, allowing that boldness to come through very easily, but also forming a sextile to Mercury. So since this was happening overnight for many of us, you might have had really powerful messages come through in your dreams, really bold messages from your subconscious kind of surfacing. I know a lot of us have been having those vivid dreams. Pay attention to any messages that came through, or you might have woke up this morning feeling like boldly expressing yourself first thing in the morning. I'm really tapping into that power pretty easily. I know last night / this morning, I had a dream that I dyed my hair bright red. I feel like that might have been Lilith coming through, like bold energy. I also had a dream that I had to drive a stick shift truck, and I'd never driven a stick shift, and people were chasing me and all this stuff. Anyway, not that you asked about my dream, but you might have noticed some bold dreams too last night. Or there's a chance you just kind of slept through that and woke up feeling the effects of Mercury opposing Lilith. But I want to talk about what happened 8 a.m. Pacific time, 11 a.m. Eastern time. Love this for us. It is, I'll pull up the chart again, a trine between the moon and Jupiter. Look at that harmony between the moon and Jupiter. Jupiter in fiery Aries, the moon in fiery Sagittarius. It's like we woke up with that fire lit, ready to go, excited to take on the day, optimistic about what's ahead, having faith in the universe. It's like all the good vibes. It feels good to feel good when the moon is harmonizing with Jupiter, especially in fire signs. So yes. I mean, the moon harmonizing with Jupiter just feels like a big fat yes. I've been really, as I've been putting together transit tracking, the course I just launched and that we're going through right now, reflecting on a lot of what I already know and making it digestible, and even learning a little bit more along the way too. And if Saturn is, well, obviously Saturn is the great malefic and Jupiter is the great benefic. So they're kind of opposite energies. And if Saturn is like a big fat no, Jupiter is like a big fat yes. So the moon harmonizing with Jupiter, especially the Sagittarius moon, which is ruled by Jupiter, it's just like, go for it. Yes to all the things this morning. Yes to love. It's easy to find the positive. It's easy to get excited. We want to share with other people today. Perfect for Valentine's Day when you're handing out Valentines or sharing sweets or sharing the love with other people, or just sharing warm sentiments, sharing how you feel about other people. I love this for us on Valentine's Day. This is the energy we're really feeling most of the day. The tides turn a little bit tonight, which we'll get to very shortly here, but just taking a moment to thank Jupiter, soak in that Jupiter energy. Oh, I tried to dye my hair red once in college. It turned out more orange. It was not great for me. It was not a great look. I've always secretly wanted to be a redhead, though. I think red hair is like the most beautiful hair, especially natural redheads. Like, I have redheads in my family, and I secretly hope that I have a redheaded child one day, because red hair is just chef's kiss. I woke up this morning and found another song I have not stopped playing. It was a powerful song, guided me in setting intentions for the day and a short gratitude meditation before work. Beautiful. Finding that power within yourself. Yes. Sag moon, your lunar return rose, amplifying all of your Sag energy. Yes. To the Sag moon, to Jupiter, all the good vibes. Okay, so the tides turn, as I mentioned, 5 p.m. Pacific time, 8 p.m. Eastern time. The moon will oppose Mars. So let's jump ahead another 6-7 hours here, and you can see the moon opposing Mars. Is it popping up yet? Where is he? Yes. Okay, 13 degrees, 14 degrees. So interesting. Actually, now I want to see what this looks like exact. The point of fortune will be near Mars right when this is happening. About an hour leading up to it, it looks like. I like that for us. I do. I feel like there could be some good fortune there. Okay, but I digress. The moon opposing Mars, and at the same time, it's going to harmonize with Chiron. So the moon opposing Mars. We're going to talk about the shadow and light again, because that opposition definitely brings out the polarity of the potential and also the downfall of this transit. When the moon opposes Mars, it's easy to be irritable, reactive. It's like that need to take action. So we're going to be quicker to, especially with the moon in a fire sign, Sagittarius, we want to move things. We're going to be quicker to irritation, quicker to anger, quicker to that fiery energy, with Mars being the red planet. We've been talking about red, right? So 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, might be feeling a little irritable. Maybe you're having a crash from all the sugar that you ate throughout the day, sugar crash. But yeah, you might be irritable or just like quick to react. However, if we take the light of this transit, channel this transit to its full potential, sexy time is coming through, right? The moon opposing Mars, like, yes, to sexual energy. It's helping us have those spicy interactions, right? Kind of coming back to that banter. Tonight, we're really going to be feeling that, like, ooh, are we kind of poking at it? But there could be some heated chemistry that's created from the heat of the moon opposing Mars. So we want to channel this energy to our benefit. We want to make sure that we're being mindful about how we're communicating and being direct with our communication too. Sometimes it's easy to skirt around things, but there's definitely some chemistry with the moon opposing Mars. With Chiron in a trine as well, there could be a little bit of wounding, but I really see this more as healing. So the song Sexual Healing comes to mind, right? Like channeling this energy in a positive way. Reactivity isn't always a bad thing, right? Reactivity, responding to a stimulus, can be good. So if that is something you desire this Valentine's Day, channel Mars energy, put desire into action, and you might even be surprised by how great it is, how healing it is. Just watch for, I feel like the moon opposing Mars, unmet desires, unmet needs could turn into irritation or aggression really quickly. So if you're noticing yourself or your partner or a child or a loved one being irritable, just pausing and being like, especially with the moon in Sagittarius, we're more generous, we're more giving, like, hey, what can I give you right now to meet your needs? Or is there something I can be doing for you that would make you feel more loved right now? Might be helpful. Or if you are attuned to the person and you have an intimate relationship with them, just give them what they want. You know what I mean? Like, just take control, channel Lilith today. What would Lilith do? That's what I'm going to be asking myself. What would Lilith do? She would take control of the situation. She would dominate, right? So if that's something you desire, channel Lilith on this Valentine's Day. Yes, red hair can be fun. And in dreams, it can mean passion. Maybe you're having passionate thoughts. Okay, Mercury opposing Lilith. Hot-headed about something. Are you holding back your anger? Not really, but I really love this interpretation. I'm feeling the passion. Yes, yes, yes. I grew up a redhead and it faded as I grew up. I re-dye it red and feel more myself, more confident and bold. Such a power color. I always wear red as a power color. Like, I love wearing red. Yeah, I've tried it. I don't know if I'm really trying to come back to more of my natural hair color right now, but one day, I'm going to master the red, I think. Yes, playfulness. I love that. With the moon in Sagittarius, the moon opposing Mars, especially Mars in Gemini, it can be very stimulating. So leaning into the playfulness rather than trying to control could be great. And of course, you all know yourselves, your partners, your friends, your children, your parents better than I do. So taking into account how they like to go about operating in the world. But yeah, like even being playful when you're kind of channeling Lilith, like, I am a goddess, like channeling that goddess energy, it can still be playful. It doesn't have to be so serious. Yeah. Not that I am an expert in this area. I am a Virgo, but I do have a Scorpio moon, if you know what I mean. All right, so lots of opportunities to share the love, lots of opportunities to give love to ourselves, to find our power, to communicate differently, to express ourselves boldly and authentically. Katie says, my husband has Venus in Sagittarius, so I'm optimistic about tonight. Yeah, the moon probably near his Venus too, really activating his ability to receive love. I feel like if you just channel Lilith a little bit and you're like, I got this. I'm really feeling, maybe it's Lilith and Leo, maybe it's just the place I'm in life right now. I don't know. Let me know if you're feeling this too for the women watching, but I'm really feeling like I want to like take back Valentine's Day this year. My partner got the chocolates, got the flowers, love him for that. But I'm like, I want to curate this experience for you this Valentine's Day instead of like waiting for you to come up with this romantic thing. I've been really feeling that. I think it's Lilith. I think I'm like, I want to set the stage for you to receive. Yes, red hair is sometimes associated with witches, that woo-woo. Yes. Love that. That explains everything. Yeah, Diane just channeling her past life and current life as a witch, right? Yes, Corby feels it too. I've been feeling that way today. Like this day is about me and I can make it all the things I want it to be. Yes, one of my best friends, Valentine's Day is her favorite holiday. And since she, like, I don't know, received isn't the right word. Since she started her relationship with her now husband, he has 2 daughters that her stepdaughters. And since they were little, she's been like the Valentine's fairy and like done a whole thing for Valentine's Day for them. And I love all the different creative ways that people share love on Valentine's Day. You know, not just romantic love, all the ways we can share love. Yeah, I could make him the avocado toast today. That's a good idea. That's a good idea. I did give him a Valentine's gift for you movie buffs out there. It was a figurine of the Goblin King from Labyrinth. It was definitely a little synchronistic find because he has been obsessed with David Bowie and Labyrinth lately. And one of my friends just happened to have this like figurine. So he was stoked about that. But yeah, you're right. I think maybe it's my turn to make him avocado toast again. Yes, Corby says, as well as the people in my lives, how can I intentionally love them and show up for them? Taking the power back. Lilith is coming through for Rose today. She is setting the stage. I love that for you, Rose. And you have all that fire in your chart. Like, yes, Lilith can probably come through for you very easily, especially Lilith in Leo right now. I know you have all of those Aries and Sagittarius placements in your chart. Lilith in Leo is kind of completing a grand trine for you on some level. So she is there coming through for you easily for my fire signs. I feel ready to receive love today instead of having expectations and feeling pressure. It's a nice place to be, Katie says. I feel like I'm making space to love others by receiving. Beautiful, beautiful. I've been feeling that too, Rachel says. Really being intentional with how I show love to my partner, focusing on his love language, letting go of my expectations. Yes, this would be a great day if you don't already know your partner's love language to like take the quiz or talk about it with them. Or even, again, it doesn't have to be a romantic relationship. Knowing your friends' love languages, knowing your children's love languages. Another way to kind of take back the power, and with Mercury and Aquarius, to open your mind to new perspectives about them. Don't even get me started on this song, Nick. The amount of times the Dance Magic Dance has played in our home over the last month is absurd. I didn't want to memorize it. It happened just by osmosis. I know pretty much every word to that song now. And he is obsessed. When I say when he gets on something, he is really on something. And he has been into David Bowie, very into David Bowie. Yeah, so I'm sure we'll be listening to Dance Magic Dance at some point today. All right, let's come back to our affirmation of the day. Love is the most powerful force in the universe. Only love is real. Only love is real. Love is energy, it's currency, it's all we really need. You know, the Beatles were onto something when they said love is all you need, because fear is just the absence of love. Grief is just love with nowhere to go. When we look at different emotions and experiences through the lens of love, we realize that love is really all there is, or at least that's been my experience. So realizing that you are made from love, that you have so much love to share, so much love to give, and you are so worthy of receiving love as well. Love is the most powerful force in the universe. It can bring people together from all walks of life. It can literally change the physical earth. It can do incredible things when we really lean into love and really open our hearts to love without expectations, to unconditional love. Because I think a lot of us have been brainwashed into thinking love is one thing, when really love is so much more powerful and so much more potent than just the card or the flowers or the candy or the physical intimacy. You know, I can't even describe it with words, but I think you all know what I'm getting at here. There's no lack in love. It overflows. It is never ending. It's one of the only things that can transcend space and time. We can love someone who is no longer here on earth. We can feel their love watching over us. If you've seen the movie Interstellar, at the very end of Interstellar, there's that beautiful, I don't know the line word for word, but when they realize love is the thing that they have not calculated when they've been trying to figure out wormholes and all these space scientific things. They're like, love is the one thing that can transcend all space, all time. Yeah. Love this affirmation. Thinking of the power of deep love takes my breath away for a second, right? And how lucky are we to have experienced love? There's no one on this planet who has never felt the love of someone else. There's no one on this planet. Even if they didn't directly meet that person, like, you are so loved. So just taking a moment to appreciate the love you've already received and how much love you have to give. Yes, told my son that this morning. There's more than just romantic love, and he doesn't have to be a Valentine to feel or be loved. Absolutely. Such an important teaching for the little ones out there, because you know, we see a holiday like Valentine's Day, we see the commercials, the diamonds, the flowers, all these things. But love is so much more than just one day or one gift. Love is unstoppable, and love is the connection. Better to love and lost to have never loved at all. Exactly. Love all these quotes and these affirmations about love. And of course, for Valentine's Day, we have to pull from The Rose Oracle by Rebecca Campbell. It just makes sense on a day like today. So I will go ahead and shuffle these up. Ooh, these still have some sand on them from when I took them to the river. A little crunchy. Let's dust these off. Whew. Okay, and we'll shuffle them up. This is your time to share any intentions, any plans you have for Valentine's Day, any realizations that you've had about Valentine's Day this year. I know you've all just been sharing all the love in the chat, and I appreciate that. Yes, this deck, it's like the perfect deck for Valentine's Day, right? Yes, and of course, it's the perfect deck for you. Have you gotten it yet, Rose? I know you said you were thinking about buying it. I feel like it's your deck. My friend, it's your deck. All right, and let's take a nice deep breath all together, the deepest breath you've taken all day, breathing love in, holding it in our body, and as we exhale, picturing it, sending love into the deck, sending love out into the universe for anybody who needs to receive it. Here we go. Breathing in nice and deep. Hold. And release. What do we need to know on this Valentine's Day? Ooh, of course. Rapture is the card. Sensuality, love, devotion, romance, ecstasy, pleasure. Yep. Yes, 1000% yes to this card today. I've never pulled this card from the deck before, but it feels so potent for Valentine's Day, for Lilith energy, for Mars energy. Here we go. Rapture. Flora is the ancient Roman goddess of spring and flowers. In one myth, she was struck by Cupid's arrow and overwhelmed by love and completely breathless in a moment of rapture. She called for Eros. However, the sound rose came out of her mouth instead, so rose became another word for eros, and it also became the symbol for love, beauty, and passion. Read another version of the story about Flora naming the rose on page 18. Okay. Many patriarchal religions have placed a shameful cloak around sensuality, sex, pleasure, ecstasy, rapture, and sexuality. One of the most natural, pleasurable parts of life has become conditional and judged. The rose wants us to heal from this and to remember that pleasure, sensuality, sexual preference, and expression of desire can be some of the most sacred, miraculous things about being a human on earth. This card comes with a message about receiving and giving love and pleasure. Flora wants you to know that your sensuality, your passion, and your sexuality, no matter how you identify, are sacred and holy. She wants you to connect with your sensual true nature and to celebrate this in all people. Here is the affirmation. My sensuality is sacred and holy. Other people's sensuality is sacred and holy. I open myself up to express and receive love in a way that feels safe and good to me. I release painful programming and experiences and return to love. Okay, Lilith. Okay, Cupid's arrow. Oh my goodness, like how perfect for Valentine's Day. This card all about love, about roses, just chef's kiss. I mean, it doesn't get more spot on than that. Yeah. Happy Love Day to you, Court. Glad you popped on just in time for the card pull. Such a perfect card. And as we've been talking about Lilith and reclaiming our power, this feels like a message almost directly from Lilith. Your sensuality is sacred and holy. Your sexuality is sacred and holy. There's nothing dirty or wrong about, take it from a Virgo who has a Chiron in Virgo, who has definitely learned this the hard way. There's nothing wrong about being a sensual being, right? There's something so powerful when we unlock that part of ourselves and allow ourselves to feel pleasure. We're human. We're meant to feel pleasure, you know? And so this is just that reminder on Valentine's Day, whether it's with a partner, whether it's with yourself, feel pleasure. Revel in the love of your body. The love your body is giving you every day by continuing your heart beating, by your lungs breathing in and out. Your body is constantly loving on you. So show your body a little love in whatever way feels good for you today. Yes, you are right, Rose. I can't see the illustration so clearly on my phone. It's kind of like superimposed. It definitely looks like the most sensitive part of a woman's reproductive organ, and there's also like a woman behind it who looks like she is definitely feeling some pleasure. I'll post this card on my Instagram story too. But yes, all the love. Yeah, and I want to come back to what Diane mentioned. A great practice for kids on a whole different note would be to give themselves Valentine when they give them to friends, to teach love and self-worth. Yes. Kind of like teaching self-affirmation at a young age. I might do this for myself today. Make a little Valentine to me, one for my partner. Use my creativity for love. Yeah, if you have an altar, like putting a little Valentine, a love note to yourself on your altar or to your ancestors. You know, if you have a great relationship with your spirit guides, your ancestors, your angels, giving them a little Valentine on your altar too, right? She hasn't gotten the Rose Oracle yet, but she's really pulled to get it, especially this past weekend. I was tempted to get it online, but I want to feel how magnetic the specific deck is when I'm at the crystal shop. I always love buying them in person when I can, but I do order them online quite a bit, right? Rapture. Okay. Love this for us. We deserve pleasure. We deserve to feel good. The moon in Sagittarius also, like, just bringing that feel good vibe, right? I feel like this year is about witnessing and experiencing love, playfulness. Maybe next year I'll do big displays. Yeah, it doesn't have to be big. It can just be a moment. It can be a moment of intimacy with yourself, a moment of intimacy with a partner, whatever pleasure feels like to you. This card is that permission slip to give it to yourself today and open to it from others today as well. Because part of fully experiencing pleasure, especially as a woman, is opening yourself to it. Unblocking all the, should I be doing this? Is this bad? What are they thinking, right? I know a lot of us can get stuck in our head, both men and women, however you identify, right? But opening yourself to love, opening yourself to next level pleasure. We deserve it. We deserve it. Love is coming in hot for court this year. I see it for you. I feel it for you. Claiming it fully. Yes. But also, until it gets there, give yourself some love today. All the kinds of love. Give your Scorpio moon some love, court. Yes, it is coming for you both. Will travel for love. We all know who you have your eye on. I know who you have your eye on. I'm secretly pining for this to play out. A little astrologer relationship. Yes, please. Yes. We're visualizing it. We're seeing it for you. I love that permission to do it our own way. Very Lilith. Yeah, and with Mercury in Aquarius opposing Lilith in Leo, it's like having those realizations about what it really authentically feels like for you to feel pleasure, because it's so different for everybody. And I think another thing, it's not just about the hearts and the flowers and the diamonds and the cards and all these impositions and depictions of love that we're given that we think love looks like, especially on a day like Valentine's Day. But the same thing goes with pleasure. The same thing goes with sexuality, what we think it should look like. It's so different and unique for everybody, right? It's so different and unique. So, that could be a reflection you have today on like, what actually does feel pleasurable for me? What actually does feel good for me? And communicating those desires with Mercury opposing Lilith to a partner, or just communicating them to yourself and giving yourself that love that you are deeply craving. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Ooh, okay. Spicy. We love it. We love when the spiciness in the forecast is confirmed by the universe, by the Venus Oracle deck. Yes, please. All the vibes today. Yes, releasing those expectations on how love looks has been so healing and freeing for me. Beautiful. Taking a nap feels good to me. So if that's what this pleasure, devotion, romance looks like for you today, give yourself a freaking nap, right? Like, no point forcing yourself if you're tired. Give yourself a nap. Naps can be highly pleasurable, for sure. Yes, you will take a nap today. Makes me feel old. No, there's something so pleasurable for me about like laying in my bed midday. It feels so indulgent. It feels so luxurious. It feels very sensual. I'm here for it. Thank you for your insights, Rachel. I hope you all have a beautiful Valentine's Day. This has been so nice to just pop on and share a little bit of love with you, to receive your love, to give some of my love, and to talk about the power of love with people who really know what it's all about. So I'm wishing you all a beautiful Valentine's Day and so much love today and every day. I will be back early tomorrow morning to talk about, I think we're starting the conjunctions tomorrow. Let's see really quickly before we go. We got to look at where Venus and Neptune, very close to one another within a degree of that conjunction today. So higher love, the romance, the dreaminess of love can really come through easily too. With all this Pisces energy, Venus and Neptune meeting in Pisces is just like perfect for Valentine's Day. Next level love, spiritual love. Yes, yes. The Sun and Saturn are very close together as well, but I don't want to talk about that on Valentine's Day. We'll talk about that more in the next couple of days, right? Yes, we have pairs coming together. We've got a lot of doubles. We do have a lot of conjunctions happening. I love that interpretation, court. People coming together. We will take it. Yes, 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 yes. I've been saying yes a lot today. I think it's that Jupiter Sag vibe. All right, everybody, that is going to do it for this Valentine's Day forecast. Wishing you so much love and beauty. Thank you all for continuing to show up for yourselves, for continuing to show up for each other, for this community. You are all so magical, and I love each and every one of you so very much. I'll be back tomorrow, but until I see you next, I love you and stay curious. Thank you so much for joining us and aligning with the energy of the universe today. If you enjoyed this morning's episode of Transits Today, you can join our live astrology discussion every weekday morning right here wherever you're watching. And head to thespiritualjournalist.com to read your daily astrology forecast and browse the Spiritual Shop. The most fun way to help keep these forecasts free and support more content like this is to buy yourself a little something on our website. But if you're feeling extra generous, you can also buy me a coffee to fuel future live streams. Just tap the link in the description or head to buymeacoffee.com and search The Spiritual Journalist. And speaking of, you can also tune in to The Spiritual Journalist, our weekly live interview where we ask our guests questions about everything from crystals and manifestation to mental health and the environment. Those conversations stream live right here wherever you're watching now every Tuesday. I'm so grateful you found us here, and I can't wait for our next conversation.